earthers say some of the most stupid things I've heard. And I've seen a lot of their comments. So in this video, I decided to make a tier list on the top 5 stupidest things that I've ever heard of flat earthers say. But without further ado, let's get started. But before I get started with the video, I just have to tell you that there are chapters in this video. So if you just want me to cover a specific topic, then feel free to just skip over to that, because I really don't care. But anyways, let's get started with the video. And at the number 5 spot, that is, this video shows proof. So as you can see, there is just a man pushing a wheelchair, and behind him there is an astronaut behind a blue screen. And what flat earthers say is that this is proof that they are faking it, but they forget a couple of things. So the first thing is that I'm pretty sure that this is a live broadcasted. So there's basically a 0% chance that absolutely no one in that room forgot to turn off that screen. Number 2, that's just how the International Space Station looks. Number 3, why are there lines behind it? So the only reason that I at least think that there are lines behind him is so they could track him. But I don't know why they would use lines, because usually when you're using Adobe After Effects, you would use dots just like this. So as you can see, these dots are to track motion, and you use the exact same motion, so it just looks like I am on this TV screen when in reality I'm not. Another thing that flat earthers say is that this tennis ball is somehow proof that water is fake. But what they forget is that tennis balls don't move like this, and people actually eat this. Like, I really hope that this astronaut didn't eat a tennis ball right here, because you'll probably die if you eat a tennis ball. So they're obviously not using a tennis ball. So let's go to our number 4th spot, and that is gravity does not exist. So how flat earthers explain how gravity does not exist is that things are denser than air. And I actually proved that gravity exists a couple of months ago, but I either didn't explain it very well or flat earthers just didn't understand. But let me explain it again. So as you can see on screen, this is the density of air, and this is the density of a tennis ball. So the tennis ball would obviously fall back down. But what they forget is that there are also other items like iron. So this is the density of iron. And as you can see, there is a big difference between iron and a tennis ball. And using flat earthers logic that things only fall down because they're denser, then iron would actually fall down more quickly than a tennis ball. So that means that heavier objects would fall faster than lighter objects. But everything actually falls down at the same speed because of gravity. And I actually re-recorded this segment just so you could understand. Okay, right here I have some tape and a Lego brick. So let's drop these 2 items. And what do you think will happen? Well, I think they will fall down at the exact same time. So as you can see, these 2 items are literally falling down right here. And as you just saw, they fell down at the exact same time. And I could do this experiment again. So as you can see, I picked up both of these again, and let's drop them. Same height. And they both fell down at the exact same time, just like the last time. As you can see, if an object is more dense, then it would have to fall down quicker than an object that is less dense than that. So I hope that you have figured out now that gravity actually exists. The gravitational acceleration is the exact same on all objects. And that's why a Lego brick fell down to the ground at the same time that a tape ruler fell down. And that's why gravity has to exist. But anyways, now let's go on to the number 3 spot. And that is, water does not curve. So to prove that water does curve, I filled up this Ziploc bag. And as you can see, water is clearly curving. And while I was actually filling up the Ziploc bag, I figured out something else. And that is on my sink. As you can see, water is just curving downwards, and that's proof that water does actually curve. But the biggest thing that proves that water actually curves is tiny little water droplets. And I actually heard this about a year ago on Professor Dave Explains. So as you can see, this tiny little droplet, is curving. I don't know what else you could say other than this thing is curving. So obviously water does curve. But now let's go on to the number 2 spot, which is space does not exist and everything is CGI. So in space there are a lot of planets. And to be exact, there are 700 quintillion of them. And to CGI all of this, it would basically be impossible. But flat earthers have something to say about this. And they say that every single planet is just a dot. But what they forget is that it's also not easy to store 700 quintillion dots. And when I asked them about how they would store 700 quintillion dots, they say that it's as easy as storing the dots in Aladdin. As you can see, there are clearly dots in Aladdin, but they forget that these dots are not comparable to these dots. There just has to be over 1 quintillion dots, and that would be so hard just to store. But the main thing is, how would have planets and stars existed before NASA? People actually looked at NASA, and I'm pretty sure that you most likely have a relative that lived in the 1930s or 40s, and you can ask them if there were stars in space, and they will say yes, because they definitely saw stars in the sky when they were really young. So how would have they existed before NASA even was alive? The answer is the stars wouldn't have existed before NASA was alive if they faked the entire universe. But anyways, now let's go on to the number 1 spot, and that is planes should always be tipping it downwards while it's flying on a spherical Earth. And also a bonus one with this is that plane windows are curved to fake a curvature on Earth. And you might not believe me, but I've actually heard a lot of flat earthers say this, and it's pretty dumb. So the thing is that gravity is in the center of Earth and pulls from all directions. And it's not like an Australian is just floating around. They also have gravity and they are also still. So one way to prove that planes don't always have to be tipping it downwards for it to fly, you just need a yoga ball and a plane. So as you can see, this is how an airplane flies, and it doesn't need to be tipping downwards. And this model isn't actually correct because this plane is way bigger than it actually should be. So if this plane was much smaller, it would still not be having to be tipping downwards just because this is how it works. And airplane windows are curved because a plane is a cylinder. Airplane windows would be straight if a plane was a rectangular prism, as if that rectangular prism plane would be not the best at flying. But anyways, if you don't believe any of these claims, just do one simple experiment. Put a camera on a weather balloon and send it to space. Like, if you do that, you can see the curvature with your own two eyes. And I don't know why flat earthers haven't done this. But anyways, that's the end of this video. If you enjoyed it, then make sure to drop a like and to subscribe to my channel, because that will really help out the YouTube algorithm. But until next time, I'm Shri.